Hello, and welcome to the 5 Core Life podcast with Will Moore, founder of More Momentum. If you've not already, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so that you get notified when new episodes air every week. On today's episode of the 5 Core Life podcast, Will Moore is interviewed on the Simply Human podcast by Mark Rogers and Rick Bentley. On their podcast, Mark and Rick help humans discover just how simple being a healthy human really is. Eat like a human, move like a human, sleep like a human, enjoy life like a human. On this episode, they talk to Will Moore about Alone, Blinkist, Audible, an F-bomb, Kids Are the Worst, Doubles, Will's Daily Routine, the 5 books Will Moore recommends, Jaws books versus movie, and more. So are you ready to fire on all cylinders? If so, let's go! Everyone has the same 5 core areas of their life that ultimately determine how happy they'll be. Unfortunately, most of us have developed failure habits in each, and it's Will Moore's mission to help replace those with success habits to maximize momentum. After exiting his business for a combined 9-figure sum, Will learned it's not just about becoming an entrepreneur of your career, but an entrepreneur of the most important business you'll ever run, your life. And to crush it in your life requires firing on all cylinders in your 5 cores by continually taking action, building habits, and maintaining balance in each.
On today's show, it's the return of William Moore, Willy Woo. Will, he's a serial entrepreneur and the founder of More Momentum, a self-improvement movement, helping people become the best versions of themselves. And this is a really fun conversation because we don't really talk about
really
anything. We're just like having a conversation with him. It was almost like a Simply Human short. Just talking about what he's been doing, and we talk all about it. It was just a really good conversation.
It was fun.
So I put my hat on during the call. So let's get, you've chatted me what's happening. So let's get to the interview with William Moore, Willy Woo, Will, all the things. He's awesome. And here's Will. Here you go.
Well, hello.
So it's good to finally see what you guys look like.
We're recording.
Well, I'm beautiful, if that was
in a question.
You didn't realize that, so.
Okay, hold on. What were you saying? I had to say this. I actually knew a guy.
Whoa, bragging montage, everyone.
Bragging montage. And I knew a William Moore, and we called him Willie Mo.
I've never been called Willie Mo.
Can we call you Willie Mo?
Well, first let me tell you what my nicknames have been, and then you can decide.
Fair enough,
okay.
Of course.
So there was the Worm, okay?
Okay.
Huh.
Not because for what you might think.
That you like to eat earthworms in the backyard?
Okay, it is what you think. No.
It's because you're a rebounder for the Detroit Pistons in the early 90s?
Dennis Rodman look alike?
Yeah, you look just like Dennis Rodman.
It'll be more fun to not tell you why I was called Worm and just let it.
Just keep guessing.
To the curiosity of the guess. So there was that. My grandmother called me Willy Woo.
Willy Woo, okay.
So I would be embarrassed, and I would get in front of her at the mall, and she would take me when I was a young lad at 12 or so. You know, when you're just so self-conscious, it's just coming out of your pores. Mm-hmm. And I would walk 10 feet ahead of my grandmother because I didn't want people knowing that she was fine.
Willy Woo.
Willy Woo. And she would just laugh. She had a wicked sense of humor. God love you. Mary Woo. We call her
she's
Liz.
passed on. Has she passed on?
With us.
Oh. Way to go.
Big Willie style.
Big Willie style. Yep. My oldest daughter loves getting jiggy with it, and she knows just about every word. Rest in peace, Will Smith and Jade. What's her name? Their marriage.
Jada Pinkett Smith. They're still married. I applaud their maturity of being able to
talk about their affairs.
That entanglement on the internet.
Well, is that not the craziest thing you've ever seen?
I've just seen the memes. I don't know what's happening. I've just seen the memes.
So I can appreciate this from the perspective of like, they realize that like there's no more romantic whatever going on, but they're like, hey, you know what? You can still stay married and, you know, what do they call it? Transitioning to a life partnership or something ridiculous.
So they're not
like that.
They're not.
Yeah. No, they're still married. They're legally married.
But they're not like kissing and stuff and holding hands. Okay,
that's the whole point.
Don't make me have to edit the video.
You know you guys have video now. You didn't used to, but now you do.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the story. Is she She apparently banged some like 22-year-old guy
Rapper?
who I've never heard of.
Hip-hop artist?
August something or else. And
Wiz Khalifa. He looked like Wiz Khalifa, but I don't know.
But and so that was like what they talked about on the internet, is how, I mean, she referred to it as an entanglement. I got into an entanglement with August, which Twitter had a field day with. So we're calling it entanglement now. Okay.
I had an entanglement with Rick's mother back in the early 90s.
Would you like to go into more detail about that?
Yeah. Your dad, and he would call. Maybe you shouldn't.
Good.
Let's talk about this book. Willy Woo. Have you heard of this?
You got me again with this.
Willy Woo. That's what you decided on? Willy Woo? That's what we're going with?
That's the greatest.
Okay. That's fair. I put myself out there. That's it.
We have started watching. Have you watched Alone? Have you heard of this show?
I saw half of the first episode and I fell asleep. I've got it queued up on Netflix.
Okay. So season 6.
Yeah,
because
right. I'm so right. I missed the whole.
So season 6 is out on Netflix. It's the only season that's on Netflix. The other seasons are on other things.
Okay.
I started with season 6 and it's fantastic. Rick, are you done with season 6?
No, we're about. I don't know how far we are into it. There's 7 people left.
Okay.
I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't watched. So I think there's 7 contestants left. So it feels like we're probably about 3/4.
They put 10 people out in that wilderness, and basically you're all alone, and the last person out there wins $500,000. And so we watched season 6. My kids
by the way, that
it.
is like that's a crappy prize.
I know.
$500,000. Okay, listen, I'm not going to like sniff at $500,000, but like half
I
that's
like
going to be
the first
taxes.
time I saw it when it was called Survivor, and it was $1 million.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it is a little
$1 million
different.
seems like who's the guy who are the ad wizards who came up with this one? Like 500. Like let's make it a cool $1 million because you're gonna have to give half of it in taxes.
But listen, here's something crazy that I've learned. We're going back and we're gonna watch seasons 1 through 5. Okay, season 7, which is happening now, it's whoever makes it 100 days wins $1 million. And if all 10 of them do it, they all 10 win $1 million. If one of right, so I feel like that's gonna be fun to get.
I think that is a better way to do it.
I have one more thing I would like to refer to you guys as a thing to do and listen to and learn. Both of y'all have Audible?
I do not.
Levels are all good. Audible? Anyone?
Okay,
you don't
good.
have Audible?
No. I read my books, Mark.
You have an Amazon?
God wanted us to.
Oh, we're going to go there now.
Yeah.
Are we going? Do you have an Amazon Prime account?
Yes.
So you have Audible. Okay.
But wait, no. I have it. I just don't use it?
Yeah. If you have an Amazon account, you have an Audible account. Okay.
Oh.
There's an Audible original. So it's kind of like a podcast. It's a book technically, but it's in the form of a podcast. There's like different people talking, and it's not like someone reading a book to you like you're in preschool. It's called Evil Has a Name. I want both of you, when we hang up this call, to start listening to it tonight.
I'm going to do it. Sorry.
Hold on, let me take notes.
It is the most unbelievable true crime story I've ever heard.
Evil Has a Name, Audible.
Yep. It's a 6-hour book podcast, whatever.
6 hours?
That's really short. Most books are like 14 to 20 hours. I'm reading all the Harry Bosch novels. Anyone? Detective Harry Bosch?
Harry Potter.
That sounds like a fake name if I ever heard one.
Well, his real name is Hieronymus Bosch. Fake name.
So do you listen to these, do you just sit in a room with your headphones on, or do you listen to in your car?
I go to a park and I sit in the middle of one of those old merry-go-rounds, and I just
That's
sit
what he
in the
tells the
middle.
cops. He's listening to a podcast, but really
He's
casting a wide net.
Really doing.
I'm sorry, officer. I was sitting in my car and my pants just fell off. I don't know what happened to them.
I didn't even see those. No, I'm not even together.
They were those NBA button rip-off pants, and I don't know. I guess I didn't get all the buttons.
They got hooked in the door and they ripped off, and I don't know. Sorry. I'm out here doing a research project.
Oh, man.
Audible.com.
I listened to
Before I forget, have you guys heard of Blinkist?
No.
So Rick,
maybe?
if you think Audible's cheating, you will basically think Blinkist is basically getting hit over the head with a.
Do they take the book words and inject them into your temple with a syringe?
Blinkist, which I admittedly use, which when I first heard about it, I was like, this sounds too good to be true. I feel like I'm cheating. But then I said, you know what? How much time does a man have? How much time? Time is a precious resource. Blinkist takes any book
I have heard
and
of
literally just shoves it down into
Foie gras?
8 to 10 minutes. They basically just take the best of the best. So I just do it with the personal. I've never done it with any other book other than personal development books. But
So okay, that's actually okay. So it's like what we had in high school. It's like Cliff's Notes.
Yes, it's like Cliff Notes, but audio. So I'll go to the gym.
Why didn't they have this 25 years ago? I would have made great grades.
No, right?
Well, probably not.
No, you wouldn't have.
The teachers know how to ask like the detailed questions, like what was the color of Piggy's conch in the stupid Lord of the Flies or whatever. And you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know. That's not in the freaking Cliff's Notes.
It's a great book.
Just hit the high points here, lady.
It was Piggy's conch. Was that from Huckleberry Finn? Piggy's conch.
Yes. That was from the epilogue of Huckleberry Finn. So Blinkist.
Listen, Blinkist. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you. So I when I used to go to the gym back when people
went to the gym.
People will read again. People will live again. People will work out again. When I used to go to the gym, I'd put them on because I hate just the act of doing this, right? And music's great, but I was like, you know what? I don't have enough time. It was I was feeling guilty about all these books I wanted to read. And I discovered this thing, and I was just like flying. I would read like 2 to 3 books in a workout.
Do you listen to them? Blinkist is different. So, because an Audible, I'll listen to it at like 2 times speed. So a 6-hour book will take me 3 hours to read. Is Blinkist like that, or is it just?
Quit calling it reading. It doesn't take you 3 hours to read.
Get out of here with your naysaying.
But so what I would do, I'll pause it in between sets, and I'm like a crazy note taker. I'll like take notes in my. I don't know why I did that. I haven't done that in years.
You have a stylus?
You have your Palm Pilot?
Your
Notepad hasn't worked.
What is it? What are they Apple Newton?
He's got a legal.
Let me get my Apple Newton real quick.
He's got a yellow legal pad. It's just got sweat dripped all over it. Like the ink is all smearing it.
Yeah. You don't even want. Here it is.
There it is, right there.
No, I tell you, I highly recommend if there's like books that you're like feeling guilty. It's like more for like, I know I'll never read these 50 books that people are like, you should read this.
Right.
And it's like, you at least get the gist. And then what I do is when I really like one of them, then I go and I read the full one.
Yeah.
Like actually sounds like a good idea for like you said, like personal development books. Like it would be a bad idea if you're like, oh, I'm going to do this for Moby Dick. Like, oh God, guy shoots a whale. Okay, got it. Done.
Right.
I read Moby Dick, everybody.
Rick, we'll tell our parents that we're Blinkisting the Bible, and then they'll be like, oh, man,
my parents will not believe not even one word of that.
Okay.
As soon as you touch it, did your hands like light on fire and start burning and melting?
All right. Will, since we talked, you had a birthday on April 7th, correct?
Wow, dude, are you stalking
we
me,
wrote it down. It's in the show notes. What did you do for your birthday?
Well,
it was pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, dude. So I have a 4-year-old.
When we talked about his drive-by party, didn't we?
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did.
So maybe we did talk to you post-pandemic.
Yeah, because he did. April 19th was his drive-by. If we talked about that,
maybe it was. Maybe you had already had your birthday. Who knows?
Are we in the twilight zone? Maybe I'm you and you're.
Maybe we were driving 88 miles an hour, and now we're before the interview.
We're in 1885 with Doc.
That's literally my favorite movie.
Oh, the third one is the best.
That's a terrible opinion.
No,
I'm sorry. We need to derail the whole interview. And
speaking
talk
of
about
derail, the train scene.
I gotta go, guys.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
I said it was the best.
It's not. It's the worst by far.
The Western one you think is the best?
Mark thinks the Western one is the best.
I like Clara.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, well, welcome to the Simply Human podcast with William Moore and Rick. Mark has been kicked off because he has a crappy opinion.
I respect the fact that I'll give you a pass, Mark, because if anybody likes Back to the Future,
what is your take on it? Is the second one?
The first one, I think, just you
Classic.
can't even compare. Just because it was like out of nowhere, you're like, what the hell did I just watch? Steven Spielberg,
the Libyans, that whole.
Well, just the idea of like breaking the space-time continuum wasn't really something that had been talked about in movies.
Right.
Before. It was kind of a revolutionary idea.
Right. The 1.21 gigawatts capacitors. Everybody dreams about like being able to like travel through time, and then all of a sudden Michael J. Fox, Alex B. Keaton from Family Ties is doing.
You're fine.
It's all. I can swear now too. It's cool if you did it, so now I can swear.
Shut up.
I did a podcast. Listen, this is no joke. I did a podcast. So the guy warned me. I'm not gonna say who it was. But he told me before, and he said, absolutely no cursing, very serious. He's like, we're going to have to stop it if you do. And I did what I just did, but it was even less bad. It was like half as bad as the F-bomb.
Like poop or something.
Yeah, it was in between
sucks.
poop and the F-bomb, somewhere in between. I don't remember. He literally stopped it. He gets up. And we were like 45 minutes in. We had like.
He's out on the editing tool.
He goes,
he's like,
That's it. I can't use it. I go, whoa. And it was like it was a good interview. Like he was asking good questions. It was a good interview. And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm just begging you, like, is there any way we can maybe just like pause that clip and like just
cut
back up
out
like 5 seconds and then just kind of loop it back in and I can stop on that previous sentence that I said. And I like had to convince this guy and I'll give him credit. He's like, you know what? I've never done this before. He's like, this is a great interview. He's like, I'm going to do it. And we did. And we like pretended like we were just, so if anybody heard that and there's like a part where all of a sudden you kind of hear, then now you know.
It's like Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel and they're like, oh, this is perfect. Oh, wait, we see that guy's penis. Sorry. Cover it all up. Cover the whole thing up.
Start over.
Sorry. Let's whitewash the whole thing. Let's paint a big smile.
If it was an ancestor of mine, it wouldn't take much to just cover that.
Judging by the painting, it was an ancestor of yours.
Shut up. Okay. William Moore, what have you been doing? How are you handling pandemic? What are you doing to keep your brain sane? That rhymed. Insane in the membrane. What's been happening the last few months? We have like 10 minutes left.
And
cut.
I'll make this short. I've been very fortunate. My life has not changed much. I work from home, from where you see me now. This is where I spend a lot.
And what city are you in?
I'm in Chicago, so Evanston, a suburb outside of Chicago. Where are you guys?
We're both in Texas. I'm in Fort Worth. Mark is in.
We talked about this, but wait. Did y'all just keep talking? Keep going.
Okay. Anyway, so my wife is really the one that's. Is he going to poop? Wait, no, he just ran into a closet.
I know what he's doing, William. I know what he's doing. He's getting his Chicago Bulls hat because he got super obsessed with the '90s Bulls. See, and he bought a bunch of Bulls paraphernalia. Man, I knew it. I know him like the back of my freaking hand.
Wow, you guys remind me of me and my best friend, right? It's like you knew what he was going to do before he did.
The look on his face. I knew you're such an idiot.
So listen, who are those?
Those are cool.
Those are pretty cool, bro.
Shut up, Rick.
Mint condition, not touched. Those are nice.
You're
gonna like this. I played golf today
with Michael Jordan.
No, but close. Well, not really close.
It was Bill Winning.
Vlade Divac.
50 people removed close. But the guy I played golf with used to caddy at Evanston Golf Club and caddied for Michael Jordan when he used to play there back in the Bulls run. He said he wore those crazy pants and he was a crazy gambler and smoked that cigar.
I know a guy once who met Jordan and instead of like, oh, you're the best basketball player ever. I'm sorry. I love watching you. That shot against Elo. He literally was like, hey, man, how's your golf game? And Jordan was like, you know what? Hey, stranger, let's go play golf tomorrow.
What?
It was a guy, Mark, who used to listen to our radio show in Abilene.
Really?
Before you were on it.
Tucker?
He ran into Jordan. I don't remember the guy's name even, but he ran into Jordan somewhere.
Please refer to him as
Hey, man,
Mr.
I just wanted to shake your hand. How's your golf game? And Jordan's like, you know what? I'm going to be in town the next couple of days. Why don't you come play with me tomorrow? And he played 18 with Jordan the next day.
Now that, dude, that's a story.
That's the greatest story I think any human being has ever told.
Well, that's not
Besides
good.
the guy who invented fire. That's a pretty
That was a cool
story.
one. Yeah.
But like playing golf with Jordan.
Yeah,
okay.
No, that is a good one.
Now that you feel at home, what have you been doing?
So similar, just working on my app, working on my book, working on my schnizzle, working on my pizzle, working on my pizzle, working on my whizzle. My wife is really the one that's had the blunt. So she's the Chicago Public School. She works with underprivileged kids, physical therapy. She started working. She actually just graduated, started working last year, and then this thing happened pretty much right when she started.
Perfect time.
So she got sidelined. Obviously, the kids are here. So she's dealing with a 1-year-old and a now one. He just turned 1, and a 4-year-old. Holy schmoly!
Both boys? You got 2 boys?
2 boys.
Ooh. That's what Rick has. The 2-boy club.
2 boys. Yeah.
How old, Rick?
12 and 9. So,
okay, so
you have a lot to look forward to.
Okay, so go back to the future. Go back in time to when they were 4 and 1.
God.
And I don't know if you can remember. You probably blocked it out, but holy
it's
cow.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Nuts.
And everybody talks about how like the joy of parenthood. And I listen. I love my boys. Now that they're like at a really great age, like we actually have fun. Like we can do fun things.
Before 6 is
but when
just
they're like
miserable.
4 and 1, they're useless.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do with them.
They
all you're doing is like
naps.
It's like looking at an egg. You're waiting for it to hatch. You're like, God, this sucks. I can't make any 69 jokes with him because he doesn't get any of them. I can't make any like that's what she said jokes. Like they're stupid and they think dumb things are funny. And then like now that they get older though, now you can this is
69. I get what that means. Yes, that's funny now.
6 and the 9.
I'll tell you, man. Yeah, so I'm right in the thick of it, and so like I'll come out for breaks, and it'll be like just there's. I mean, first of all, my 1-year-old's. I'm convinced he's a pterodactyl, like half pterodactyl. I mean, just that's literally what you hear every other minute. Like, I mean, I'm doing calls, and during the day. It's a good thing we're not doing this during the day because you would definitely.
Is that a portrait of you in the background? What is that back there?
Oh no, that's actually my ancestors. So Henry Clay, the great abolitionist,
yes,
was my great ancestor.
Really?
Great.
And then who's the other side?
And then that's actually a woman. Back then, they didn't really look like women.
Way to go, Mark. Way to go, Mark.
Sorry.
No, I don't.
My mom.
That's my wife. Yeah.
That's my self-portrait, and that's my laugh. No, they were not. That's actually his sister. For years we thought it was his wife. We got these. But they were passed down from generation. And then there's a museum in Kentucky where Henry Clay's from, and they wanted to buy them. And we said, no, we're keeping him in the family. And they actually said, that's not his wife, that's his sister. So for years, our whole family.
And here's their child. And it was like this 3-armed thing. The mutant.
Kentucky.
Automatic third arm.
The South, bro. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about your book and the app and all that. Like, tell us about what you got.
That's just boring because it's not ready. I'm working on a book, and the gist of it, we talked briefly last time, 5 core life. It's about firing on all cylinders. It's about these, it's taken me quite a while, as I said earlier, on this crazy note taker. Not this.
On your
it started
sweaty legal pad.
Started as this, back in the day when I was in college, and I hit my rock bottom, and I was to get serious for a second here. I was very suicidal. It was a bad time in my life, and I said I got to reinvent myself. Or I'm going to basically, that's it. So I just started reading all these self-help books, and over the years took these notes, and then I was able to find success in business. But along the way, as I'm reading and doing these things, and I'm using myself as a human science experiment and whatnot, I kind of, when I finally exited my business, I was like, I stepped back and I thought it was everything that I was working for. And then I realized kind of what I already knew in the back of my head, which is that financial success, yes, it's a part of the equation, but it's only one small part. It's only one small part. And, to become an entrepreneur in the business sense is fantastic, but really you want to become an entrepreneur in the most important business you'll ever run, which is your life. And I realized that the reason I was successful in business is because I think I've been exploring these other cores that I figured I didn't know they were cores at the time. I was just like, I know relationships are important. I know my physical health is important. I know my emotional health is important. I know my mindset is important. And so I'm like, doing all these things. And then it kind of all clicked when I sold my business. I was like, now what am I going to do in my life? I was like, okay, well, I want to actually, leave a legacy and have it be known on my tombstone that the world is a little bit better for having this guy in it instead of sucking the soul and the life out of it like many of us.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to ask you, but my wife on her tombstone thinks it would be funny if we put "I'll be back" on it.
On what?
On her tombstone, like Jen Rogers, 1980 to 2020.
Another.
She's still living.
Well, sounds like Mark's got plans for later on this year.
Okay, I'll be back.
This is the year. Is she already dead?
No, she's still with us. Yes, everything is fine so far.
That's why I ran into the closet real quick. Hit her one more time. Hit her moving around.
I heard her moaning. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's the word.
And domestic abuse.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, what is your, like, in the pandemic when you kind of have, one good thing about all this is like my whole fall schedule is wide open. That's kind of fun. I'm normally very busy with things. So like we're kind of in this rut. What is your like daily routine? When do you wake up? What do you do? What are your nutrition, movement, all that stuff? Like, what's your daily routine?
Okay, so I wake up and I So I have Flipboard. I call them failure habits versus success habits. Failure habits are things that build negative momentum and make you less happy. Success habits are the opposite. So I realized, and every time I catch myself in a failure habit, I'm like, okay, how do I replace this with a success habit? So I used to look at the news, and then it would just depress me. And if you look at Apple, do you guys have the Apple feed? Whatever top 5 stories guaranteed to make you either pissed off or disgusted with humanity, or all of the above. So now I have Flipboard, and I can choose what I want to be seen. So like personal development, entrepreneur, find whatever. So art, whatever. So I look at that stuff, and at least it just gets my eyes open. I can no longer spring out of bed like I used to when I was a spring chick.
Me either.
So then I go down and have my coffee.
What is that? Shake. Yeah.
Yeah. I have it's spinach, and it's protein, and it's bananas, and it's my little concoction. I've been doing it for probably 15 years.
Every morning.
Yeah, and I put coffee in it. So I put coffee in the
shake. The caffeine,
so it's a twofer. And then I play with my kids for a little bit, come up, take a shower. And in the shower, I actually habit stack, where I do 2 things. I say my mantra to myself, and I stretch. I tore my ACL and my meniscus playing basketball last year. And so I now have to stretch every day, basically for the rest of my life, if I want to keep it from atrophying or whatever. So I as I'm stretching,
add that to the bragging montage.
At first, all I saw was you don't even want to know what I thought that was at first. But
now it's time on Sprockets where we dance.
Yeah,
this is Sprockets where we dance.
Would you like to touch my monkey? Okay,
so
let's go.
Did you tear yours too?
No, I'm trying. I'm a high green belt Taekwondo, and I'm trying to do the splits. And so I bought this thing, and it's torture, but it's fun, and it's helping my back.
He's working on his flexibility, because you can't get your freaking purple belt or whatever without doing the splits.
Your purple belt. Okay, anyway, so you stretch in the shower. I like that.
Well, so I'll give you I'm not going to give you my morning routine. So the last thing basically of my morning routine, I say my mantra as I'm doing my stretches. So it's 2 for, I don't feel like it's just become habit.
Right.
Like I don't even feel like I'm doing it, but my mantra is something that at one point I wrote down, and over the years it evolved, and it involves these 5 cores I was telling you about. And I basically, now I've memorized it, because I've said it to myself every day for the last 15 years or so. And I go through the things that are important to me, and that I want to make sure to remind myself of, usually involving things that I know. So sometimes I'll tweak it if it's failure habits that I'm working on. And then and then at the very end, it's what I'm grateful for, just to remind me of, the big picture, because it's so easy to get caught up in my life sucks. I got to tell you. So this reminds me, somebody sent me this video today. It said, being born in 1900 versus being born today. And it was just so right on. I'm going to share it on.
Yes, please. Send it to me.
It literally went into what a kid born in 1900 went
dealt
through.
With.
And it was World War I, Spanish flu, Great Depression, World War II, Korean War.
Right.
It was insane. And then meanwhile, it showed being born today. Have to stay home because of COVID and watch Netflix. And it was just put things
get out of here. Yeah.
It was so right on, because it's right, you got everybody's about, but really we are very fortunate, because number one, this thing's not killing. Spanish flu killed 5 million people.
And kids were, young people. Imagine if that was happening. Jeez.
Right. The kids aren't getting really, for the most part. And so it is very fortunate. And it's we have to stay in our air conditioned homes. And, and granted, not everybody has that luxury.
Right, but for the most part, we see what you're saying. Yes. At the end of your mantra, do you say, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me"? Gosh, God, what is it? And gosh darn it, is that what he says? Doggone it,
doggone it,
people like me. Stuart Smalley, Michael Jordan was on one of those. You remember that one? Speaking of Michael Jordan, he was on a Stuart Smalley.
He was?
Yes, he was. Look it up.
He was on SNL. He was probably the
worst
SNL host. However, was in one of the greatest SNL sketches all time. Sweet River Baines, when he was the first black Harlem Globetrotter, and it is one of the funniest sketches ever.
Yeah, running circles
because they have just all these white guys play basketball like an old time, and then all of a sudden they have Jordan, and he's dunking on everybody and it's blowing everybody's mind.
I do remember that.
And his name was Sweet River Baines.
I'm going to watch that when we get done. Okay, the last question I have. You read a lot. I want to know, this is going to if you're anything like me, this is going to be our tough question.
Yeah.
You have 5 books that you can tell people to read right now, and then you can't tell them any more books that they can read, and they can't read any more books after this. This is the last 5 books they're ever going to read. What are the 5 books?
Okay. So the book started it all for me. When I told you I had that rock bottom bounce in college, I serendipitously discovered How to Win Friends and Influence People
Covey?
by Dale Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Written in the 20s. I think they slightly modified it, but honestly, even if they hadn't, like that still holds up today. And those are the books, the other ones I'm going to mention, they're all ones that I consider, it's like universal principles. And by the way, they're all probably, to some people, I don't know, this may be boring, but they're all personal development books because that's really
well, that's the deal. That's what we asked. I mean,
it's good to
have 5
develop
books.
your person.
Yeah, good to develop your person. Agreed. So that started. That's what kind of got my wheels turning. Like, oh, there's another way to look at my life. Maybe I'm not the only one that feels this way. And then Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
definitely. And that's all about getting your mindset in the I'm going to be wealthy space. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds simple, it sounds too good to be true. But really, if you don't have that mindset, which is one of my cores, by the way, but it's not just for the rich part, but that is part of it. You got to have that sort of like, you got to see things through a lens of I'm going to be successful and I'm going to make it, or I'm going to be happy, I'm going to do this, whatever, or you never will. And so that's in one sentence, basically what the book's about, but it's way, way, way better than that. I did not do it justice. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. That was another pivotal. All of these were pivotal times in my life too, where once I read this book and things just started happening for me. So that one was right before I got my job at Florida Land Partners selling land. It was a crazy. Oh my God.
We talked about Far and Away last time.
Yes. Okay. Good. We did talk about
it. That was amazing.
Job on the planet, literally like a modern day Far and Away, but with SUVs, and we raced to the parcels. We slapped all the soul stickers, and there was customers fighting. So I read that right before, and that was all about passive income, getting your money to work for instead of again. Whether you're working for it or not, and all these good things. PI, passive income generator. Then
is that that's 3?
One, Atomic Habits. Sorry, so that's 3, right? Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay.
Awesome book.
Last one.
I mean, I'm going to have to go with Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek.
Yep.
Okay.
That really, and I like that so much. You guys listen to his podcast?
Yes.
Ever?
I have the Tools of Titans like encyclopedia book.
I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It's
now.
incredible.
It's like all my books right here.
Yeah.
And that was another one pivotal. I read that and I was like, okay, so I don't need to just like work my ass off for 80 hours a week to make money. Like you can be smart about how you use your time and actually make more money. And that just kind of another mind shift that kind of changed everything.
Tim Ferriss is the reason that I can't like do a whole lot in the shower.
Really?
Because I take cold showers. So I'm trying to get the hell out of there because it's freezing. So anyway, Tim Ferriss, thank you very much.
Yes.
That's a good list. A good list. What is the last fiction book that you read?
Oh man, it's been a long time. I loved Crichton back in the day. I got into him. I mean, we're going back to like
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Rising Sun.
Yes.
There was one called like Congo. I think.
Great stuff.
Like all of his. God, I mean, honestly, that may be the lowest. And that was. I mean, I'm 44 now. That was probably in my mid 20s. So that tells you.
Been a while. Yeah. I try to mix it up. I'd read the self-help and these kind of books that Rick sent me, and you
showed that. Sorry, real quick, but you didn't say what that's about. You mentioned that show.
It's a field guide to the art of wilderness survival.
Okay.
Mark sprung it on me last week when he was talking about books that my mom suggested that he read, and held it up, and I went into a laughing spasm and could not stop laughing.
No, that's not what happened at all.
That is almost exactly.
But
what
I do.
happened.
It's like I'll read like a self-help or like a nonfiction, but then I've got to have like a brain. Like I'm like the Harry Bosch books. I can just. It's like a brain. Like just a vacation for my brain, but it's just
Listen, I'm with you. Like it's like that whole Blinkist thing. But then you don't want to read one of those on Blinkist.
Right,
I feel like there's so many books that I have literally on my shelf right here that I haven't read, and there's a list like that I have like that I come across. Again, I'm this crazy note taker, and I'm always like writing. Oh, I need to read this. Or somebody. I'll listen to a podcast, and somebody will tell me about. Oh, that sounds good. And then honestly, it becomes overwhelming, and I get anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
My list is too long.
I
and then like I can't read just for fun. But I do the lazier of the two, which is I'll just go watch Netflix or just
a documentary or something. Yeah,
and just like at night, and I'll just watch. Whereas a lot of people read, which I give them credit for.
Rick will make fun of me for this, but I have a spreadsheet of all the books that I want to read, when I start them, what format they're in, when I finish them, if it was fiction or nonfiction. I've got a goal of how many I want to read every, it's this whole thing. If I don't do that, I'll be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to read next. I can't do this. There's too many books I've bought.
I totally respect
Rick,
that.
you're on mute, dummy.
Because had I thought about that, that's probably something I would have done. That's brilliant.
That's the most Mark Rogers ass thing I've ever heard of in my life. And I can understand of having a list of books because someone will suggest to me
I have too many in the queue.
It takes me a really long I tend to read very boring nonfiction books. It's part of my kind of sleep hygiene, but I'm right in the middle of Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, and I've been reading it for 4 months.
10 years.
And so by the time I'm done with it, I will have I don't know, I don't have a book left on my list because I don't have a list. So I can understand making a list of books you want to read. Yes, we all know, Mark. We believe you. Idiot. But how long it took you, and I wish I did maintain a list of because if someone told me hey, what was the last nonfiction book you read, I couldn't tell you because I can't remember the last book I read before what I'm reading now because it's taking me so long to read it.
Count of Monte Cristo. It was Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, that was 200 books ago.
Really?
I'm the one who suggested that.
That's one of my all-time
favorites.
That's a very good book.
Great. And nothing like the movie. The movie's great, but the book is very different.
I haven't seen the movie.
Movie sucks compared to books.
The movie, yeah. I was just, it's one of those things they always say this. It's such a cliche, but if you saw the movie, you might have been like, oh, that's a good movie. But if I saw the book and then I read the movie.
Yeah, you can't do that. There's never been a movie that has, even the good ones, like Lord of the Rings to Return of the King, the best. It got Best Picture. Not as good as the book. Sorry.
You went down that.
I read those this year, actually. I read all The Hobbit and all the Lord of the Rings books.
You read it after you saw the movies?
Mm-hmm. And they were so much better. Books that I've read recently that I saw the movie first. Yeah. No Country for Old Men, The Revenant, Dances with Wolves, Fight Club. All of those books are better than the movie.
I didn't realize any
Even Dance. I'm going to reread Dance with Wolves this year because it's so great.
Yesterday again. For
really,
900th
such
time.
a good movie, and the book is so much better because you get into his brain.
In the movie, they have the fakest fart sound I've ever heard when he's riding. He's getting taken out to Fort Sedgwick
right before he gets arrowed to death,
and he's writing a bunch of stuff in his book.
Put that in your book.
And the guy bends over, and the fart sounds like a trumpet. He just goes.
Put that
was a really good.
That's actually a video of that.
But read that book. That book is it's man. You hear you get the internal mindset of his why he wants to be out there, and it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, okay,
I will say just while we're talking, the only book I would say that was just as good. So Jaws is my all-time favorite movie.
Okay, I've never read the book.
Never seen it.
After I saw the movie, you got to read the book.
I've heard that.
Book after I saw the movie, it was already my favorite movie, and my brain had it didn't know what to do because it was wait a minute. Now the movie's not as good as the book, but
it's your favorite movie. Yeah.
What do you
do? Yeah.
I did a brain aneurysm on me, but I'll tell you, the book is unreal, and it's very different.
I'm adding it to my spreadsheet. Hang on.
Put it on your spreadsheet. It's very different from the movie in a very cool way.
Okay, when you finish Evil Has a Name, I want you to email me your thoughts. Start it soon, and you won't. What's happening in there? Is he screaming? What's wrong with him?
Yeah,
my 6-year-old.
Father of the year, everyone.
Yeah.
What's up?
Deal with us. There's my wife.
Hello.
We were just talking about you.
Can I get my wife in here?
Your tombstone.
Yeah, she's alive. Hey, it's proof right now. She's alive.
She's not in the closet.
She's still here. Where is she? I'll be back. Does that make sense? I'll be back.
She's already said it. We were talking about I'll be back. All right, she's going in the closet. It's time.
Yeah, party.
Yeah, that's how you're going to dismember.
I didn't do it very good.
Amateur.
I have this nice. There it was.
No, man, you're really on top of things, everyone. We're all very scared.
You want to be on that show, don't you? You want to be on that alone show.
I do.
Oh, he does. and he would tap out in 3 days.
Because
he would eat something and he would get severe diarrhea.
Yeah,
the diarrhea would be what we get Mark out of.
That's what happens to me every day.
Mark can't even live in modern society without diarrhea.
I eat something and I start diarrheaing in my pants or in my best friend's patrol car. On a ride along.
You've been born in 1900, bro, and then diarrhea would have been the least of your
right. Oh my gosh!
Like, thank God I have diarrhea today.
Thank God, I'm like so on.
Okay, Willie Woo, this has been great. This was an Enjoy Life podcast episode. We talked about some stuff, some good stuff in there. Books are really important. So this is good. So keep us posted on your book and the app and all that stuff, and we'll blast it out to our stuff, and we'll have you back on in the fall. Check back in with you and see how the kids are, if they're driving you crazy and all that stuff. So
guys, this was awesome. I love you guys. Honestly, I'm not just saying this. Out of all the podcasts I've done, like I really love you guys and. God, earmuffs every other podcast I've been on.
Right.
You're definitely a fave.
Well, we always say this like at the end of our shows, we're always like, we need to have you back on, and like.
Yeah, we tell everybody we need to have you back on. We don't have all of them back
earmuffs all of our guests. Like, so the fact that you're back on means like, yeah.
Like, hey, essential oils guy, we're not gonna have you back on.
No, shut up.
Terrible. You're the worst guest we've ever had. We never had you back on.
Okay, we've had a lot of essential oils. We're not going to pinpoint. Rick wouldn't be able to say what the guy's name was.
I love the good cop, bad cop going on here.
Yeah.
Oh, we love essential oils. I mean, they're fantastic.
Awesome.
They smell very good.
All right, well, go Bulls, and we will talk to you soon. I'll email you the links when all this is up.
Yeah, email, and then we got to schedule our next one.
Yep.
You guys are booking 6
Oh,
months.
yeah. Wait, listen, we got to have you back on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, no.
You don't really mean it.
I'll send you the link. It's the same link, but I'll send it to you again whenever I send you all this stuff.
Cool.
All right, thanks, brother.
All right, guys.
All right. See you, man.
Okay.
That's it for the 5 Core Life podcast with Will Moore. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you have not already, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so that you get notified when an episode drops every week. If you haven't joined the 5 Core Life Facebook group yet, I encourage you to also join that and see what all the fuss is about. There's some really great, awesome content there designed to get your momentum going, including a monthly giveaway where you can win a complimentary coaching call with the Will Moore himself. The Facebook group is currently the only place to get Will's dedicated attention and support on your 5 core journey. If you're feeling stuck or just want someone to cheer you on, that's the place that you need to be. There's nothing like a community of people on the same journey to get you fired up, kicking butt, and taking names. So come join us.
Well, get moving, gain momentum, join the movement. Join Emmett by going to moremomentum.com to take a free life evaluator quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.